All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for this press conference. My name is Alan Wells. I'm the Director of the Tribal and Multimedia Programs Office here in Region 5, the Great Lakes region, serving 35 tribes. I'm first going to introduce Regional Administrator Kurt Thiede, who will turn over to President Swartz, and then we'll hear from our colleague Teresa Seidel at Michigan Eagle. Please hold any questions until after their remarks, and I'll do my best to moderate questions and answers after the remarks. So with no further ado, let me introduce Regional Administrator for Region 5 EPA, Kurt Thiede.
Great, thanks, Alan. And can you hear me all right?
Sure can. Yep.
Well, excellent. Thanks a lot, Alan, and good morning, everyone. You know, I'd really, this has kind of become the new norm, hasn't it? And this new situation we find ourselves in, I'd much rather had been planning on being up on the Lons Reservation this morning to make this announcement, but very glad we could all gather virtually to celebrate this important event. My name is Kurt Thiede, and I'm the Regional Administrator for EPA's Region 5 based in Chicago. In that capacity, I'm also the manager of EPA's Great Lakes National Program, a role I take very seriously. Now, our Great Lakes are the water bodies that feed, and the water bodies that feed into them are not only vital to the health and the regional economy, but also vital to our culture and way of life. Now, having been born and raised in Wisconsin, I know this to be true, and I know the Keweenaw Bay Indian community holds this firm belief as well. Now, it is the respect for our natural resources and all that they provide that brings us together today to announce EPA's approval of the Keweenaw Bay Indian community's application for treatment in a similar manner as a state under the Federal Clean Water Act for the Lons Reservation in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Now, EPA's decision will promote tribal self-government, will empower the tribe to manage their water resources also by developing water quality standards. Now, they will also be responsible for issuing water quality certifications for actions requiring federal permits on their lands. As KBIC sets water quality standards for its reservation, as states can also do under sections 303 and 401 of the Clean Water Act, they'll be submitted to EPA for review and approval. Now, through this process, EPA is recognizing the tribe's authority to protect rivers and streams on the Lons Reservation and to safeguard the health and heritage of the community, their community and their natural resources. Now, EPA's longstanding Indian policy, which has been affirmed by EPA Administrator Andrew Wheeler, encourages and supports tribal efforts to administer their own environmental programs. Nationally, this is the 65th such approval for the Water Quality Standards Program. Today's action is a testament to KBIC's commitment to environmental stewardship and builds upon prior work done by the tribe to establish a strong, comprehensive environmental management program. I know the tribe's Clean Water Act Section 106 Water Resource Program has been in place since January of 1993 and includes reservation-wide water quality monitoring, assessment, inspection, and analysis, a major accomplishment. Now, additionally, KBIC is the first tribe in Michigan to have received EPA approval for treatment as a state for the Clean Air Act grant funding eligibility and notification of major air permit application within 50 miles of the Lons Reservation. It's partners like KBIC that make our environmental efforts at the federal level effective. And without the active participation of our tribal partners, as well as state and local governments, we could not achieve the environmental benefits that we're aiming for. Now, joining forces, sharing resources such as information and technology, and giving everyone a seat at the table will help us serve those who rely on us to protect the health of their communities. And as always, EPA looks forward to building our relationship with KBIC, Michigan Eagle, and other partners as new water quality standards are developed and incorporated into permits. I want to thank the entire EPA team that worked to get this application across the finish line. I want to thank Teresa Seidel from Michigan Eagle, for joining us today. And I also want to offer my respect and sincere appreciation to President Swartz for his leadership. Mr. President, congratulations to you and your tribe. And Mr. President, the virtual podium is now yours.
Thank you, Kurt. On behalf of the Keweenaw Bay Indian community, I want to thank you for your leadership and everybody at EPA for making what happened today a reality. So, you know, this treatment as a state, or as some of us are calling it, treatment as a sovereign, has been long coming. KBIC and others are beginning to interpret treatment TAS to stand for treatment as a sovereign. TAS as a legal status means treatment in a similar manner as states, as you had mentioned, Kurt, and it refers to the transfer of specific authorities from the federal government to federally recognized Indian tribal governments. When federal regulations such as the Clean Air and Water Acts were first written, the law included delegated authority of state governments for administering these programs. Through the last few decades, federal environmental statutes increasingly recognize the role of Indian tribes to administer their own management programs on Indian lands. Thus, tribal capacity has grown and strengthened to assume authorities similar to that of states. Rather than rewrite an entirely new set of laws and procedures to be inclusive of tribal nations, the federal government mandated TAS so that all laws where states are articulated, it is known that tribes may also legally act in a similar manner as states. EPA actively encouraged tribal and state governments to apply environmental standards that are specific to their local environments. Local standards are more relevant for communities and thus more protective of community needs. Treatment as a state, treatment as a sovereign is important to the Keweenaw Indian community for many reasons. First and foremost, TAS is a responsibility stipulated by the first treaty. In implementing TAS, we are honoring our first treaty with all orders of creation, which included our obligations and connections to the natural environment. Second, KBIC is a co-management partner with state and federal government agencies. Many of our natural resources, such as fish and wildlife, are included in our shared stewardship responsibilities along with other entities. TAS provides for locally relevant considerations of environmental quality. Within our area, including both the tribal and non-tribal communities, there is greater dependence on locally harvested foods such as wild fish and game. Therefore, local environmental standards can assure greater protections for the good of the community as a whole. I look forward to working in a cooperative manner with our partners from the state, federal, and local units of government. Lastly, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all of the dedicated staff from the EPA and the Keweenaw Indian Communities Natural Resources Department that made this possible over the years. EPA actively encouraged tribal and state governments to apply environmental standards that are specific to their local environments. Obtaining authority under the Clean Water Act is one of the greatest achievements our tribe has accomplished for our reservation. And this has been our goal here at the Keweenaw Indian community, which will help in preserving our way of life for the next 7 generations. Chimigwich to all those who made this happen, from the staff at EPA, staff at our Natural Resources Department, and the community's tribal council. Chimigwich, everyone, and thank you, Kurt, for recognizing the Keweenaw Indian community's ability to co-manage the treaty resources that we reserve for us in eternity. Chimigwich.
Thank you, sir. And now let's turn it to Teresa Seidel from the Michigan Eagle.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Teresa Seidel. I'm the Water Resources Division Director for the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, our new name. The Water Resources Division continues to look forward to collaborating with the Keweenaw Bay Indian community as they develop their water quality standards for waters within its reservation. KBIC is the first tribal community in the state of Michigan to be granted this particular treatment estate designation, and we congratulate you. It's been a long haul and a lot of work, and we know what it took to get there, and we're very happy to start continue our partnership with you. KBIC and Eagle share the same goal of high water quality and the protection of our natural environment and public health. Eagle looks forward to continue partnership with KBIC as they develop their water quality standards, and together we can achieve our shared goal of excellent water quality and protection of public health. And we thank you.
Great. Thank you, ma'am. So we have time for some questions. I've seen a number of names popping up calling in. You can either just send a chat, or if you're on screen, raise your hand and I'll look for you, or just speak up and I'll do my best to moderate some questions here. Okay, last call, just in case someone was on mute wanting to ask a question and I did not hear them. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to speak up at this point. Thank you. All right. Hello, Mark, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Wabin. I'm Mark Parrish with Pokagon Band Tribal Council, and I'm also a member of the National Tribal Caucus down here. And I'd like to congratulate President Swartz with this great development. I know everyone really worked hard on it. Also like to thank EPA. It's really rewarding to see this thing come together, and of course the state of Michigan. This is going to be monumental in being able to work together and be able to protect the environment for everyone. So just like to say congratulations to everyone and thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I don't have any questions, but I just have a comment. I just look forward to working with everybody. You know, I mean, this is something relatively new for the Keweenaw Bay Indian community, is, you know, collaboratively working to, not relatively new, we've been doing it, but now it's been etched in stone, so to speak, the collaborative process we're moving forward to protect not only the water, but also the air here in the Valance Indian Reservation. So, you know, this is a great accomplishment. And like I said, it's probably one of the greatest accomplishments the Keweenaw Bay Indian community has ever done, besides opening the first casino in the nation. That's our claim, one of our claim to fame. So without Indian gaming, we probably wouldn't be here, because it's been a godsend, you know, and it's an essential service to the Keweenaw and to tribes, because casinos help Indians and tribes provide the services that are so much needed in Indian country, and having that essential service and getting it back open is important to the tribes here. So, but also so is public health. So, you know, that's why we're meeting here today virtually, because of this pandemic we're having. So I don't want to use all the time up if somebody has questions for us.
No, thank you for those additional remarks, President. Anybody else have remarks or questions who hasn't had a chance to speak?
Hello, Horace Schmidt here. Can you hear me,
Yes,
Alan?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm with the Upper Peninsula Environmental Coalition, and we supported the tribe's desire to get its own water resources under its control, because I've been so impressed over the last few years of all the work that's been done to remediate the old stamp sands issue, the problems with all the legacy pollution that's being cleaned up by the Natural Resources Department. So it's really a pleasure to hear that the tribe is able to run its own water, and in a sense, it will probably raise the standard for the entire county. So I'm really appreciative of it. Thank you again, and thank your Natural Resources Department for all the work they've done.
I certainly will. And Evelyn, I think, is on the call, and she's listening in too. Evelyn Ravindran is our Natural Resources Director, and she's the heartbeat over there. So we really appreciate all her work and dedication, and her staff over there, because I mean, without her and her staff, I mean, we wouldn't be where we are at today. They're world class over there. You get a chance to get up here. I think we've canceled Water Day this year, but you get a chance to get up here next year and participate in the Keweenaw Bay Indian Community's annual event, Water Day. By all means, come on up. It's a great time to get together and meet and discuss common goals amongst different sovereigns. you know, because at the end of the day, we all like the air and the water. And I think it's important that we meet, even if it's here on the Great Lakes of the shores of Lake Superior, as we call Gitchigami here on the Lance Indian Reservation. We're happy to accommodate everyone during those water days. So, you know, next year, hopefully we can sit down and meet and meet and greet and actually sit down and clink our coffee cups, besides, you know, showing it up in the air and showing off our coffee cups. But, you know, this is something new too. So I'm getting used to doing this also too. So, you know, I don't have anything else. I mean, it's just great that, you know, sovereigns are coming together and working together to protect our most natural resources, because at the end of the day, I continue to look. I can look out my window right now and I can see the lake. You know, that's 20% of the world's natural fresh water. And it's important to not only the Keweenaw Bay Indian community, but everybody here, that we protect that clean water, because water is life. You know, without water, our bodies wouldn't be able to sustain the way they have. And it's more important to the Keweenaw Bay Indian community, because that's our way of life. And we're dependent on that water. We're a fishing tribe. And so the resources that we get from there, and those treaty protected resources, help support our way of life. So this means a whole lot at the Keweenaw Bay Indian community to be able to exercise its sovereignty and continue to move forward and regulate those and protect those treaty protected resources. So Alan and Kurt and everybody who had a hand in this, and even those who are listening on the conference this morning, I really appreciate it. It just goes to show that people are really aware of what the Keweenaw Bay Indian community. I see Bob from Lance is on. You know, it's good to see Bob from Lance, you know, and other local units here. I mean, it just shows that, you know, there's a respect for the Keweenaw Bay Indian community and having the ability to regulate those types of activities, you know, and moving forward, we're not going to jam this down anybody's throat. We're looking to work cooperatively with you and run it by you in a draft sense, in a draft form, before we even do this. So everybody has ample opportunity to put their 2 cents in worth and when it comes time to, you know, develop these standards. So again, Kurt and everybody else, Chimi Gwech, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you on behalf of the Keweenaw Bay.
Well, Mr. President, just a couple final words, and two, not to keep folks longer than needed this morning, but thank you for the acknowledgement of the hard work, you know, obviously by your staff, also here at EPA. And I can't thank everybody who's been involved in this from the beginning, but I would just like to point out Debbie Baltazar, if you could wave, Debbie, is joining us this morning, has been involved in this for quite some time and helping kind of shepherd this through. I'd also like to introduce a new face who is going to be involved in these types of issues moving forward. If I could get a wave from Tara Fong, who's our new permanent water director for EPA Region 5. Tara started yesterday, and we're very excited to have her on board, and she's going to be greatly involved in this and many other issues, obviously, as it pertains to water. And everything you said, Mr. President, is absolutely true in regards to the importance of water here in the Great Lakes region. And then my final shout out would just be to Mark Parrish. Mark, hello. I know we're efforting greatly to try to keep the communication going on the R-Talk, and I look forward to sitting at the table with you again soon, either virtually or in person, to continue these conversations about the important partnerships that the federal government has with the tribal nations here in Region 5 and across the country. So thank you all. Alan, thank you for helping coordinate and MC this event, and for all your fine work too, and helping to keep our communication going with our tribal partners.
Thank you, sir. All right. So with those final remarks, we will close out this press conference. Good to see your faces. Thank you all for participating, and look forward to working with all of you going forward, and looking forward to my next visit to the UP. Good day, everybody.
Yep. Thanks.
Congratulations, Chris.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Be safe too.